and gentlemen. It's a honor to stand before you and to share my story. And I sincerely thank CBC Television for providing the platform. As Priscilla has already said, my name is Sheila Zulu, and I'm an agronomist. And I often get asked, who is an agronomist? So an agronomist is a person who is concerned with the health and well-being of crops. And what I mean is more like a crop doctor. So I am a crop doctor. So in the same way we have medical doctors, they look after us, they're concerned about our health and well-being. I'm concerned about the well-being and the health of our food crops. So I come from a family of boys, the only girl. Yeah, so for sure it's well, because I wouldn't have it any other way. So my mother was an integral part of my upbringing, and growing up alongside with my brothers, and having my father to look up to, I think has contributed to shaping the person that I am today. So I live my life on purpose. It's on purpose, and I've intentionally decided that I'll draw lessons from life, and I believe in liberating myself. So what that means is that there are so many things that I've learned in the past, and some of the things I have to unlearn them and get new information in order to adapt to the changing times. So sometimes we tend to hold on to things that are not helping us in the present time. So it's important that you unlearn, remove what is not working, and embrace new information so that you adapt to the present time. So I believe in living a life on purpose, learning lessons, and always liberating myself. So coming back to my growing up and my childhood, I always say my dad was, he was my biggest supporter. Why I say so is that at that time, he was already aware of the reality of the world that we live in, especially when it comes to inequalities between men and women. He was already aware of that. And his greatest lesson was that anyone is capable of doing anything, no matter who they are. And that has stood out for me. So it's always that ringing in my head. Whatever I face, it's anyone is capable of doing anything, no matter who they are. So those were the greatest lessons. But those lessons, putting them on together, this was done through, the way the roles were assigned at home, because I was the only girl. So our tasks were not assigned based on gender, no. Otherwise, I would have maybe been doing so much because I was the only one. So it wasn't easy, of course. Sometimes your friends will laugh at you while you were doing things which were considered to be for boys. And my brothers as well, sometimes they were shy to do dishes and cook because their fellow friends, the boys, would not do that. So that's what it was. And like I said, that at the time, of course, it seemed hard. It was like a challenge. You're not proud of it. Your friends are like, your parents are mistreating you. You're not supposed to do this. When you're doing outside work, maybe up to now, we consider that to be maybe boys or men's work, but I could do that. So vice versa, my brothers would also do that. But now we just look back and we appreciate that. Of course, the lessons were hard, and in most cases in life, when we're going through a process, I think we really appreciate that. But then when we get the results, we're like, wow, it was worth it. So that's what it was for me. So fast forward, growing up and getting into the agriculture path and career choice. I was very fortunate. For me, I was very fortunate because I ended up in my career by choice. But I'm aware that some people don't have that privilege or opportunity to do what they want to do, because sometimes people are forced to do something. Sometimes we hear people say, you have to do this because I'm the one who's paying. you know. And then we also, sometimes we have, you know, parents and guardians, you know, they want to live their life through somebody. You know, you didn't do certain things, but you want somebody else to do them. Or sometimes we want people to turn out in a certain way in society, but then we are not giving them the support. So for me, I was very fortunate because freedom was exercised at home, and I chose what I wanted to do. And of course, agriculture, as we know it, at that time, it was not even, maybe even now, it was not a first choice career, especially for girls. No, you know, people laugh at you, and you're going to school, you're getting good grades, and people think you are wasting your grades because you should be doing something else and not agriculture. But it's because of the perception that has been created. You know, when we talk about agriculture, people think it's somebody living in the remotest area. You know, they are tilling the ground from morning up to evening, and they have no access to other things in life. I think that's the perception that has been created. When you talk about agriculture, people think you are detached from civilization. And I'm here to tell you that it's not true. Those are lies, and it's unfortunate that some people have believed those lies and they've gotten to do something which they are not passionate about. So really for me, of course, I didn't get much support, especially from friends. Like I said, you know, people will talk about other careers that were fancy. So sometimes you are shy to really talk about what you want. But my father was very supportive, and sometimes I would share with him that, you know, I was talking to my friend, and she said, why do I want to do agriculture? And my father would sit me down and say, do you want to do agriculture or not? I'm like, yeah, but that's what I want. At the bottom of my heart, that's what I want. But then there are all these voices that are speaking, but inside, I know what I want. And so my father would say, you are not them. You are different. They are your friends, but it doesn't mean that when they are your friends, you have to like the same thing. And he gave me this example that I still remember up to now, that, you know, you get on a bus from town, you're going to Charleston, and my father said, the bus is full, it's going to Charleston, but do you realize that along the way, people are getting off, and people are getting on? They'll get off at Manda Hill, but from town, the bus is going to Charleston. And then other people will get on, they are going to Charleston. So if you are going to Charleston, there will be people along the way that will get on that are going to the same destination with you. And what he was trying to say is that they are your friends because you've got some commonalities, but at some point you go separate ways and you meet other people who like the same things that you like, and you get along. So you don't want to hold on to these people because at some point you have to part ways. So sometimes, you know, those are struggles that we go through. You know, we've got this comfort that I can't do this because I'll be separated from this, but life is a journey and we have to travel through that journey. So getting into my tertiary education and the industry, one thing that was so obvious when I got into an agriculture college was that it was male dominant. It was male dominant, and it was obvious because it was a class of 20 people with 4 ladies, and I never had a female lecturer. So I was like, okay, you know, like, this is what it is, but then you start understanding that, okay, before even getting into it, you know, not so many of my female circles would okay my things more, but when you're going through them, sometimes you're like, why am I doing this? Why can't I do something which is easy? Easy as, you know, easily accepted, and you know, something I can easily do like any other person. You know, I remember when I once worked for a seed company in Southern Province, and I was responsible for working with the commercial farmers. So one time I got to somebody's farm, and from the expression, he wasn't expecting me. You know, as human beings, there's a way we communicate, verbal, sometimes body language. Yeah, so you pick that. No, he wasn't expecting me. So, and then I made it easy because, like I said, that when you are aware of the industry in which you are in, it's like you switch on a button to like, okay, this has come, this is what it is. You know, this dominance, it comes in different forms. So I just made it easy for, I said, are you expecting a man? Ah, no, Sheila, that's not what I said. I said, no. I'm the one to sort out your issue. Ah, okay, but not very convinced. So we sorted it out, and then he was very happy. And the next time he's calling me, I know, I have a problem. Come to my farm. I went to the farm, and then the other time somebody's calling me. Oh, such a person gave me your number, and could you? So now, you know, it's the same thing. That do it, if I'm happy, then you are in, you see. But not that you've come to sort out an issue, and then, okay, fine, already people have the confidence. No. So that's what it is. And yeah, I think for the industry, for me, it's like you keep pushing, but because we are few, you know, we are not so many, you have to speak for yourself. There's nobody to speak for you. You see, so you sit in the meeting, you are the only female, and you want to make your point, and you just say, this is what it is, because sometimes you find that sometimes the other gender, you know, they will agree on something and which you don't agree, especially if it's disadvantaging the women. You just say, no, that's not what it is. So that's how it has been for me, and it's ongoing. But talking about the challenges, and especially the industry, for me now, I've actually tied what I do, the purpose. What is my purpose? And success as well. You know, when we talk about success, success is different for every other person. Someone will buy a car, they're successful. Someone no a car, no. Someone no a house, or they have a big job. We define it so differently. All of us, it's different for all of us. But whichever way we define it, we have to work towards it. We have to put in an effort. It doesn't come easily, and we have to strive to achieve. But then what should keep us? What should drive us? We need to have a driving force. So that's why I said, for me, I have a lot of challenges in the industry. But what is driving me is that I want to change the picture of agriculture. There are few women, so the only way is to try and get more on board. So that keeps me going. I mean, there are so many bad things that would happen, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I shouldn't lose focus. This is what I want to achieve. So if you ask people, you know, everybody wants to be successful because success is glamorous, but there are so many things that are attached to success. So for me, my purpose attached to success, what would I call success? Of course, for me now, it has become very clear that I think it's more of being servicing people. You know, you serve people, and you impact somebody's life positively. Because sometimes when we talk about, you know, material things, it's difficult to quantify. You know, you can have a car today, tomorrow it's not the latest car, and then it's like, okay, so what did I achieve? You know, so but then you realize that with people, that goes a long way. You can change somebody's life, and they can change their generation. You see, so I think as human beings, we are created to impact each other's lives. So for me, that is the only way I can do it. And of course, I focus more on the women in the industry of agriculture, because agriculture is it's like any other profession, it's like any other business. You know, when we talk about business, agriculture, for me, is the most lucrative industry, because everybody is eating. We have eaten this morning, we'll probably be eating later in the day. Somebody has to produce the food, and somebody is producing the food. They shouldn't be looked at as you know, second-class citizens. They are producing our food, so it's like any other. So for me, really impacting on people's lives positively, women getting into the profession, women getting into the agriculture business, I do that by sharing what I've learned. what I've learned, I've also learned from what I have, I've learned from other people, and I want to share what I've learned. I want to connect with people. You know, I want to talk to someone who has this idea. I want people to visit and see what I'm doing. You know, expose people to the agriculture. The bigger part of the agriculture sector, go to somebody's farm and say, this is what it is done. It is a business, you know. So if we look at the Zambia population, maybe 17.86 million, maybe that's where we are. Women, maybe 9 million. The men, I think 8 million. So more women, less men, but of course still the agric industry, more men than women. If you look at the farming population, out of 100%, 52% are women. And someone would say, yes, there are more women in agriculture. But out of the 52% of the women in agriculture, how many are leaders? How many? You know, the majority of that 52% of women in farming, they're not, you know, they are not leaders. Most of them, the way I look at it is that, you know, they are farming, they are subsistence farming. So they are producing food to eat, and there's no excess to make the money. But agriculture is a business.
That's right.
It's a business. So there are just two things that stand out from agriculture for me, is that it's food security and it's income. Farmers are not charitable organizations, no. You know, they'll produce the food, we are going to eat, we are going to buy, and it should be a business for them. So the majority women that are subsistence farmers, some of them, it's like, you know, sometimes I tend to think that, you know, it's like they're just providing labor, you know. They won't make decisions about the farming activities. You know, some of the women, they don't even know where the fertilizer is coming from. They won't decide on anything. Someone will buy the fertilizer, even if they had excess produce, they will not be involved in the selling, you know. So it's just the labor to produce, and that is all. So somebody shouldn't say that, no, we have 52% of women, that's already more than 50%. No, we have very few leaders, and that is why the picture is not changing. So we need to change the picture. We need to look at agriculture as any other profession. So for me, a few things that have stood out in my journey, my education journey, my career journey, you know, things like commitment and discipline. You know, commitment is a simple word, but to really commit to the things that we have decided we want to do, I think sometimes it's very difficult for people. You know, it can be small things like you want to lose weight, and then you are told, cut off this food, and then even a week is so difficult to do without that food, which is our favorite, but not good for our health. Yeah, so committing to what I've decided I want to do. I believe all of us here, we've got goals. We are pushing some goals. We want to achieve things. So what steps are we following to achieve that? We have to break it down. This can be on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly, and yearly. You commit to it at the end of the day or at the end of the week. You look at what you said you wanted to do. Why didn't you do it? You know, it's easy to actually put down things on paper, but to actually take action, that's what makes the difference. And then discipline, again. Discipline is more of self-control. Self-control. What are you doing when nobody's watching? Because sometimes we do things because we need somebody to validate, oh no, she has done this. But what are we doing when nobody's watching? That's very important, because that is a self-control. It's an inner thing that we do. We discipline. We decide where we want to put our time. We decide who we are hanging out with. Are they helping us to achieve what we want to achieve? It's us to actually identify that, because when we draw up our goals and our purpose for life and what we want to achieve, it's entirely up to us to say, this is not helping me. this is helping me because, or I need to talk to Sheila because what she is doing is connected to what I want to do. So that is what you need. You need to be practical. You need to be realistic, and realistic in the sense that what you plan, also realistic outcomes. Is this for real, or you just want to have something at the beginning of the year for the yearly resolutions? No, it should be realistic. And along the way, for some of you who are in employment, you know that there's this, companies will do appraisals. Sometimes quarterly, sometimes yearly, but we should also have appraisals for ourselves. When we draw up our own goals privately, let's check ourselves. Let's review what we put down in January. We can do that quarterly. And if something is not working, it could be some external forces. You take it out, revise your goals. At the end of the day, at the end of the year, it's just good to look at the year, celebrating the new year. What did I achieve in the previous year? And it helps us to grow. It helps us to the destination that we have set, because that destination, the purpose, that is very big, because when we have a destination, then along the way, we identify distractions and we focus on the destination. It's like you're running a race, and focus on the medal. It's what you want. But the journey might not be smooth, but your mind should be on what you're supposed to get at the end. And then the other thing, time management. I've touched on it. Time management is very crucial. What are we spending our time on? Everybody has the same amount of time. Successful people and unsuccessful people, we are all blessed with 24 hours in a day. How are we spending it? Are we able to account for our time? When we say time is money, it's easy for somebody to say, I had 100 kwacha, and I got a bottle of cooking oil, I got some bread, I have a 20 kwacha, I'll buy some tomato. We account for 100 kwacha. Are we able to account for our time? Or do we just get onto the phone and the next minute someone has posted a video or they've gone live and we sit and we start watching what they're telling us? And then we have 1 hour gone, we cannot account for it. So when they say time is money, it's because we can achieve so much. So the way we spend our time, sometimes, the things that we actually produce or the life that we have, sometimes it's actually directly related to how we are spending our time. And the other thing also is exercising patience. I love farming, and I call it a school of patience. You can't rush anything. You can't rush anything. You sit and wait. It's a school of patience. Exercise patience with yourself, your business. There are certain things that you can't rush. Like I said, with farming, you plant your seed and you have no control whatsoever. What happens? And this is where now the faith comes that it's going to germinate. You don't even know if it's going to rain, but it will rain and my seed will be safe. So exercise patience. And with farming, because there are so many things that we can't control, and being on the farm and spending so much time into farming activities and working with nature, you find that this patience also helps you in dealing with other aspects of your life. People are talking about stress, and it's a big thing. So you say, okay, so how do you get stressed? No, because it didn't work. Okay, was it in your control? No, it wasn't, but there's anger, so when you're into farming, it's like you can't plant today, harvest tomorrow. No, so along the way, you tend to cultivate this, and it also helps you to handle other aspects of your life. And the other thing also is that I tend to count on myself. Counting on myself first, and if I get any help, that's a bonus. I don't count on other people to achieve my goals. No. the goals that we've drawn up for ourselves, we have to achieve them ourselves. That's very important. Because, you know, sometimes you find that, there are some people, they would be handed a job to say, oh, go and see Mr. This, and there's a job for you. You know, like they won't struggle to get it. And then, but when they get there, they have to work. The company is expecting results. So whether something is given to you, you realize that for you to keep it, you have to work towards it. So I always count on myself, but of course there's nothing wrong in relying. You can rely on people for moral support, emotional support, but when it comes to achieving your goals, that is really up to you. You know, you can have people, that you want to talk to for something which you want to do. And speaking as a person of faith, I always believe that God will bring people to you that should help you in achieving what you want to achieve. So, but then we need that awareness. So, building good bridges as well, you know, because this will help you in the bigger picture of your life. You know, 10 years down the line, you go, oh, Sheila, no, me, I'm actually into agriculture and I need A, B, C, D. But why? Because we have connected and we've built a good bridge. So as humans, as we interact, always build good bridges with people, because at some point you might need that person for something that you are doing. So that's very, very important. And the other thing also is that I've learned to play to my strength. You know, where are my strengths? You know, you can't be a jack of all trades. If you are a jack of all trades, I think you are going to be average. Because there's something that you are good at and something that you are not very good at. You know, in high school, I remember it was so common that, you know, if you're getting maybe A+ in certain subjects, and then you are getting a C in certain subjects, and the emphasis was that you have to put more effort in the subjects where you are not doing very well. But in the industry, it's different. In the industry, you focus your attention on where your strength is, because you have to be an expert. You have to be an expert in something. You know, if you look at the medical people, you know, as a human being, the body has different parts. I've never heard of a medical doctor who is specialized in the whole human being. No. You know, they'll tell you, no, the doctor for eyes only. That is their specialty. I know, the doctor for bones. So the doctor for bones maybe is not bothered about my skin. It's just bothered about the bones. So that is something that I've learned, that especially if you're into business, you can always outsource the other areas which are not your strength. You play to your strength, build that expertise, be that somebody that people are going to call upon to say, for this is the person you need. Why? Because you have built that expertise over time, and you know, you want to be known for something, you know. So that is what it is for me with playing to my strength, is that I'm specialized in growing food crops, and I focus my attention there. I can close my eyes and I'll tell you, do this and this and this on the maize, on the soybeans. No, don't do this, don't do this. Okay, how much rainfall do you have? Yeah, but then you continue learning. You continue learning, because everything keeps on changing. Everything keeps on changing. So again, coming back to agriculture, my emphasis is just to speak to you people. I don't know who is into agriculture here, and the viewers, is that agriculture is just like any other profession, and it should be considered, because you know, with agriculture, we shouldn't struggle to find reasons why we should get into agriculture. I said it already, humans depend on agriculture. Whether we are eating, somebody's growing cotton for our clothes, somebody's growing rubber for our plates, so it's so much. So we can't start finding reasons to say, let's get into agriculture because of this. No, we are actually depending on it. The moment we are born, we can be breastfed, but in no time we switch, we want solid foods, and somebody has to grow that food. So for the women, especially the women, the numbers are so few. We can't all be in offices. The people in offices want to eat. There should be that one person who should say, I'm part of the production team. Just be proud that you've contributed to the economy. Be proud that somebody has been able to eat because of you. One time I was buying lemons by the roadside, and this lady was trying to, she was telling me to buy her tomatoes. And I said, no, I just wanted lemons. And then she was like, no, these tomatoes are very good. They come from Agro Farm. Agro Farm, they produce very good tomatoes. We don't need a fridge. They have a long shelf life. And in my heart, I was part of the production team. And I was so happy, but I didn't tell the lady. I said, no, I'm just buying. So I told the guys, I said, guys, well done. The ladies are praising our tomatoes. They are saying they don't need a fridge because the quality of the tomatoes are very good. It gives so much joy. It gives so much joy, you see. So in as much as, yes, it's fancy, it's cool to be in an office, but people have to eat. People have to eat. So be that one person that will say, I'm part of the production team. So I want to encourage everybody in here and everyone watching that agriculture, especially for our country, Zambia, sometimes we seem to have abundant land. It's so much, it's so vast, it's undeveloped. The reason is simple. People have not awakened to the fact that that's where the money is. We haven't woken up. So when we wake up, those who have already done that, they are making it. They are making their money. They are having a life. It's a lifestyle. So the majority haven't awakened. But with time, people will. And then we'll have some people who will be saying, I had wanted to do agriculture way back, but now there's even no land. Yeah, so we need to realize that that is a business that is very lucrative, and if you're a student, you are studying, science and technology, agriculture keeps on going through innovation. There's so much innovation going on in agriculture, so much technology is coming on. We have smart agriculture now. So all of this now is calling for people from the academic. They have the education, and then they have to bring it on the table. You can have a farmer, he is on the ground, and there's this person with the technology, because we are looking at efficiency. We are looking at being more precise. We want farmers to be profitable. How can they do it? What can we do so that they don't use so much fertilizer, but they should still produce more? So there are all these opportunities. It's a long chain. It's a long chain. You may not necessarily need to be on the farm, but you realize that the moment the farmer has bumper harvest, then it calls for other things. It will call for the transporter to transport the produce. That's a different business. Someone may have storage facilities, and that is a business for them. Talk about the value addition. We have bread. Someone has to grow the wheat, someone has to transport it, someone has to process it. So it's so much, and you find that when I talk about agriculture as a profession, it's all of these gaps that people should fill in. But when you really look at it from the beginning of the cycle, it's the farmer. And if the farmer produces more, you'll find that then they create opportunities in the chain for the other people. So of course it's not without challenges. Life is not without challenges. A bad day today does not mean a bad life. Yeah, and those challenges, we overcome them, we combat them, but like I said, that there should be something to drive you. Because if there's nothing to drive you, when you have a challenge, you give up. Yeah, it's easy to give up, but when you are trying to achieve something, then you have the challenge, but you'll be able to overcome that. And sometimes with challenges, they also force us to be creative. If we really have this mind of wanting to achieve what we've put down, then you find that it's easy to create solutions because you want to keep going. You don't want to stop. You don't want to give up. So that is what it is. So, but the challenges will always be there. But I think as humans, we just have to realize that this is what we have to do. And in the end, everybody is capable of doing anything. Let's not put limitations upon ourselves. You see, for me, I told you that when my father was saying anyone is capable of doing anything, no matter who they are. But now, as a person of faith, you realize that before you are a man and a woman, you are created in God's image. Before anything else. So society will tell us, you are a woman, you are too young, you are too old, you are this and this and this and this. But before all of that, you are created in God's image. And there should be no limitations. And you know that we've already been provided with everything that we shall ever need. We have been provided. So it's really ourselves to bring it to reality. So as we travel through the journey of life, let's ensure that we have a purpose. If we don't have a purpose, then we'll go with anything. Let's have a purpose. Let's be there for each other. Let's impact people's lives. Let somebody's life be changed because of you. Yeah, so for me, really, in the end, of course, I told you there are challenges, yes. But in the end, what I've said is that the only message that I'll have to the world, or the book that the world will ever read about me, is my life. I've decided to make it count, and I've decided to inspire somebody. Make it inspiring and make it count. So it's those decisions. How do we want to live life? So for me, really, the only story you read about me is my life. Some people don't know me, but they'll tell you, okay, she's at this farm or she does this. I don't know them, but it's just my life.
Wow. You have made agriculture for me so glamorous. You said you said we walk through different patterns and we can't all be in offices. I've added more to that. We can't all be in heels.
No.
And added to that, looking at the passion that you carry for agriculture, and I'm thinking you're paving way for so many women. Do you see yourself as probably lecturing at some point, just to extend that inspiration and encouragement, and just as you pave the way?
Thank you. I forgot to mention that I'm actually a trainer.
Oh, great.
So part of my job at AGCO is to train.
Okay.
So I train agriculture students, I train farmers and agro dealers as well. So the way we do the training at the farm is that we generate the knowledge from what we're doing on the farm, but we also have specific modules that we do, but of course we incorporate with some of the activities just to make the modules current. You know, if we are talking about plant diseases, we'll put in plant diseases that we could have experienced on the farm. So I'm actually a trainer, and I'm working closely with the University of Zambia, because like I said, it's just a handful of women, and I've taught these girls to say, you are the stars, we have to make it. Yeah, so I'm actually a trainer, and I do, yeah, there's so much I do with that training, yeah.
Thank you very much. For somebody who's just hearing about agriculture for the first time, they don't have a particular experience, they don't even know how to till the land. How do you bridge the gap from the farm to the kitchen? Or how does a layman or somebody who's just starting but wants to get into that field, what would your advice be, or how do you get there?
Okay, like I said, agriculture is so diverse, and it's case by case. So the question for me would be, which side are you looking at? So it could be from is it production? Is it just the supply chain? Is it value addition? So if it's the production side, where do they want to start from, and what? Of course, the first thing is, do they want to work for somebody, or do they want to own land? Because there are a lot of lessons that need to be learned. Again, you see, some people have had job on training, some people have lost money, and others have given up and they've said, no, it's actually a waste of money, but how were you doing it? So if you want to do it as a business, then you have to operate it as a business. Look at your money, look what is involved, how much money are you going to make, and then you proceed in that direction. So it's whether they want to do it as a business, or they want to work for someone who's on the farm and maybe learn some skills. But if they want to work on someone's farm, do they have the skills as well? Do they have, if it's the education, do they need the education? Because you may need the education for certain things. I do a lot of research and crop trials, but this is something that I've learned in school. I will not just lay out my field anyhow, no. I have to lay out the field in a statistical manner, because I have to analyze my results using statistics software. So I have to learn that. So it's the skills, the knowledge. Where exactly do they want to start from?
So thank you for the knowledge. I wanted to find out particularly, how is the government open to new forms of farming? We have seen the government investing into cash crops, livestock, but I'm a person who wants to do crocodile farming. So how is the government open to such form of farming?
Okay, so I'll talk about that, but because I'm not coming from government, but I appreciate that government has policies. Government will provide an enabling environment. Yeah, that is the big thing that they will provide. So government will provide an enabling environment for you to operate. So when you talk about crocodile farming, the issue is that government has not prohibited you from getting into that. So already they've created an environment that you can do it. So you understand the level of support that government will offer. So already for me that is support, because you are able to do it. But then the next thing is, what are you going to do with the crocodiles? Now you as a business person, you do your research. So you do your research. Do you want to sell crocodile oil? Do you want to sell crocodile meat? What is the market like? So you do that research, because you don't get into production without knowing the offtake of your produce. Yeah, so really, so if you talk about government, for me, as long as it's not prohibited, they've said do it and good luck. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like your courage. Thank you. Really encourage us considering to go into farming. My question is, like, say, are there any inputs or resources which the government has in place for women, especially to get land, to get resources, and to get other things, maybe funding or something like that?
Okay, so I know there's the food support program. That's a big program that government is running, and these are subsidized inputs. But if you talk about women specific, Zambia National Farmers Union, that is a union that is countrywide, and it has a lot of programs and projects and for women. And they've also identified that there are a lot of inequalities in this industry, and they are doing so much for the women. They are into financial management, savings, and they also do provision of finance. So there's a way they do it in such a way that if they give you the support, there's a way for you to pay back. You know, when I worked for an insurance company, and we're doing agriculture insurance, and we were doing insurance, crop insurance for the farmers, and that was done through ZNFU. You know, so farmers' crops were protected, you know, from just unseen calamities. So that is one way of supporting. But then this needs a coordinated system. Say that Zambia National Farmers Union, they're countrywide, and they've got structures. So within that, they've got members, and those members could be subsistence farmers and commercial farmers. So that is one place I know that there's so much activity in that line.
Okay, so
Yeah.
which means someone can just approach them?
Yes, you just go to them here in Lusaka. Head office is at Showground. You just find out, and yeah, what you want to do, where are you, who is the best person you should be talking to, and yeah, pick it up from there. But it's worth giving it a try. Yeah, it's worth giving it a try, because the only difference that we are going to make is the action that we take. All of us have so many ideas in our heads, but the only thing that we see is where someone has taken action, because they make a difference. Yeah. So thank you so much for listening, and it's really been a pleasure to talk to you.